The Arctic Winter Games are so important for us. For more than 50 years, they have helped us show the entire world how accomplished, diverse, and united Northern peoples are.
Governor General Mary Simon speaking last night at the opening ceremonies for the Arctic Winter Games in Mat-Su Valley, Alaska. She was addressing the thousands of athletes who are there from across the circumpolar world, all hoping to go home with a golden ulu. We'll have highlights and stories from the games later on in Northbeat. Good evening. Welcome to Northbeat. I'm Megan Roberts. We begin tonight in Dawson City, Yukon, where Kane Morgan's murder trial entered its fourth day. Morgan is charged with second-degree murder in the death of Kevin Edward McGowan in 2018. And today, Morgan took the stand in his own defense. Chris McIntyre has been in court all day. He joins us now live from Dawson. So, Chris, what happened today?
So, Megan, court is still in session. It has run a little bit longer than expected, but you're right. Kane Morgan has taken the stand. Currently, the Crown is cross-examining Morgan. Now, for the better part of the day, he has taken the stand to just basically explain a timeline of events that happened before and after McGowan's killing. He noted that in the early hours of April 29th, Morgan was at a friend's house having a couple drinks of whiskey while helping him move some things along around his property. He then went into town where he went to the downtown hotel, had another drink, was tired but wanted to go home. He later then met up with McGowan, who he said he didn't recognize at first, but he got to become friends with, and actually said that he was fascinated by McGowan, so they decided to hang out a little bit. During that time, Morgan, he did go get a bag of mushrooms. Magic mushrooms. He told the court. He offered McGowan some, but McGowan declined. Throughout the evening, he did take magic mushrooms. He said up to 7 grams. He also then told the jury that he did take some MDMA and headed to a house party. Now, this is where the details started to get a little bit, unclear, as Morgan said that he was quite.
Chris, I think we've lost you there. I don't know if we can get Chris back on. Chris is reporting live in Dawson. Seems like we're having a little bit of trouble there, so we'll get back to that story hopefully soon. But that was Chris McIntyre live in Dawson talking about Kane Morgan's murder trial, charged with second-degree murder in the death of Kevin Edward McGowan in 2018. Chris has been in court all day. He just did a little bit of a wrap-up for us, and so hopefully we'll get more from Chris tomorrow on that story. The Dene Nation is continuing to push for an independent inquiry into the handling of the 2023 Northwest Territories wildfires. It sent a letter to the commissioner of the NWT demanding one be held. It wants an open public inquiry where everyone who was impacted can speak, including elders, women, and children. DELA Chief Fred Sangris remains critical of how the GNWT dealt with the evacuation.
And we don't believe that they communicated properly. Evacuation happened at very fast pace. The call went out, the urgency went out. People were driving out, fires on both sides of the highway to Betchoko, kids screaming, parents yelling for their children. They have no idea what was happening. It panicked people. The premier and the government who chose to do it this way panicked people, and they should never have done that.
The Dene Nation is urging people to contact the NWT commissioner themselves and express their concerns and desires for a public inquiry. Last month, MLAs voted in favor of holding a public inquiry. Immediately after that vote, NWT Premier R.J. Simpson shot down the idea, saying now is not the time to have one. The Yukon is getting a health authority. The Liberal government tabled legislation today that will establish an independent body to oversee health care in the territory. The Yukon's Minister of Health and Social Services says it's one of a number of changes coming to the territory's healthcare system.
The recommendations advocate for a health system that's not only high performing and integrated, but is grounded in the principles of collaboration, cultural safety, and anti-racism, people-centered.
McPhee says the change will mean less bureaucracy and more efficiency for patients. And it means the Yukon will join much of the rest of the country. If passed, Nunavut will remain the only province or territory without a health authority. The government of Nunavut has issued a public health advisory following an outbreak of whooping cough in the Kivadluk. Cases have been reported in Rankin Inlet and Arviat. Whooping cough is highly contagious, and it's more severe in children under the age of 1. The disease can be prevented through vaccination, and the GN wants parents to ensure their children's vaccinations are up to date. 4 years ago today, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. The infection has since killed more than 58,000 Canadians. While the severe peak of the pandemic has passed, hundreds of Canadians are still dying every month. Experts say vaccine boosters remain a crucial protection, especially among the older population. Lauren Pelly has that story.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
4 years after that declaration from the World Health Organization, COVID is still on many Canadians' minds.
It doesn't feel like it was 4 years ago, but I mean, I'm happy that we are where we are.
I think that was a very powerful impact on people's life.
I just don't want to get sick. I got races to run, so just can't get sick.
Researchers say staying up to date on COVID vaccines remains one of the best ways to protect yourself. And a new American study suggests more frequent vaccination for high-risk populations like older adults and anyone immunocompromised could help reduce the burden of severe illness.
It becomes less about the number of doses you've gotten and more about the time since your last vaccine dose or infection.
The study's co-author says protection wanes over time, leaving higher-risk groups more vulnerable.
If you just look at the data on severe disease and who's being hospitalized and dying right now, it's almost the same pattern that's been present the entire pandemic. And I think that's quite striking.
Canada's overall COVID death rates have dropped dramatically since 2020, but older age groups are still bearing the brunt, with 9 in 10 total deaths among those aged 60 and up.
I think we'll see new guidance.
This Canadian immunologist expects a spring vaccine push here for higher risk groups, since COVID is still circulating year-round, at least for now.
I suspect we'll get to a place where it's more seasonal than it has been.
Scientists do remain hopeful that COVID will become less of a threat over time, but for now, it's still sending some Canadians to hospital and leaving others with lasting health impacts. Official guidance from Canada's national vaccine advisors, high-risk Canadians can get another spring dose. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
After the break, the games are on in Alaska. We will have the highlights from day 1 of competition at the Arctic Winter Games coming up.
We carry a world of information in our pockets because we want to know. Breaking news that shapes your world.
All right.
Reporting from the scene onto your screens.
It goes on like this, and on and on and on and on.
It's news you can trust, delivered when you want, where you want. On Canada's News app. Download the free CBC News app.
Priya doesn't love exercising, but loves the way it makes her feel. Max doesn't love cooking, but loves homemade meals with his kids. Paul doesn't love doing his taxes, but loves getting the benefits and credits he qualified for. Learn more about benefits and credits like the GST HST credit and Canada Workers Benefit at canada.ca/every dollar counts. A message from the Government of Canada.
Hey, you're some friends, aren't you? Stand here and now you try and blackmail her. You disgust me. Every one of you.
Coronation Street. Watch free on CBC Gem.
Bad hair days. We all have them.
Even us scientists. I think I know my place. It's not making art. What? This is a whale? That's incredible.
I'm piloting a boat in the fjords of Norway. I love this job.
You never listen to me.
You never think things through.
Your honeymoon phase is officially over. We never had a honeymoon phase.
You really gonna make me say it?
Oh, yeah.
Fine. I need you, Max.
So much drama. I love it. You ever get tired of that? Stop it. Get tired of that.
Someone broke into my gym locker, stole my hearing aid. I feel naked without my hearing aid. And my clothes. Didn't catch up. It's about the body hair, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot.
The Arctic Winter Games are officially on in Alaska's Matsu Valley. Teams from all over the global north are there competing in everything from basketball, hockey, and gymnastics to traditional Dene games and Arctic sports. Each team chose their best athletes to carry their flags into the opening ceremonies last night, but not Team NT. They chose 2 people for the honor.
So, from the male side, flag bearer will be Sean Grandjam. Come on, squeeze in here, get in the middle here, bud.
And the female flag bearer will be Kiara Coakwell.
You heard it there, Sean Grandjam and Kiara Coakwell were both chosen for their dedication for sport and leadership. Coakwell is from Hay River. She's the captain of the NWT's female volleyball team. Grandjam is from Fort Smith, and he's also a volleyball player. They led more than 270 athletes and cultural participants into the arena for the opening ceremonies. Today was the first full day of competition at the Games. It was a packed schedule for the athlete, and it was also a packed schedule for the CBC's Pauline Beamick. She's in Wasilla tonight where the Dene Games are underway. Pauline, what's happening right now?
Well, right now, we're down to the grind in the competition between the under 18 athletes who are doing the stick pull. So I've been observing Greenland has been in the competition tight with Alaska, and you can see behind me, I think they have the young girls there right now, and it's just been amazing to see the stamina coming from their bodies and how concentrated they are. So it's been really exciting here today, and it's just been nonstop on the go, lots of people. It's great. It's great, Megan.
Always good to see those energetic AWG vibes, Pauline. I can imagine you're feeling them too. This is the first day for the Dene Games, so tell me a little bit more about how the day itself has been going so far, the multiple events.
So we're at the Menard Sports Center here at the Dene Games. They've been going on this afternoon. They had like an opening ceremony, and they have elders and officiates and volunteers and athletes from 6 different teams here, and they'll be going to the end of the day. Coming up will be open women's and open men's competition, and so we're excited to see that. But this morning they also had some hockey, they had futsal, they had basketball, they had Arctic sports, they had snowshoeing. Nunavik was talked about at snowshoeing this morning, and then, throughout the day there have been more activities in and outdoors. There's hockey tonight, there's just so many different venues, and they're spread across the whole Matsu Valley region. So we've been trying our best to keep up with everybody, but in honor of the culture and tradition of the games, we're here with the Dene Games competition, and it's just been incredible to see them collaborate and exchanging, and just I'm learning about the Dene Games. I wasn't familiar, but now that I see the list of, some of the competition, it's very familiar to Inuit culture and games that we've done in the past, because it all has to do with on-the-land resources and hunting and survival. So it's been fun. It's been a journey so far. First day.
That sounds so wonderful, Pauline. I mean, I know you're reporting on all of the teams, but your heart is with Team Nunavut. You mentioned there were 6, I believe, teams doing the Dene Games. Are there any athletes from Team Nunavut competing tonight?
Yeah, we have a team representing Nunavut. They're all from Arctic Bay, it's recent for them to join. Since about 2004, they had mentioned that this isn't a tradition that Inuit are new to, but having a full team at the Arctic Winter Games specific to Dene Games has been a highlight for them and for us as well. And they did well this morning, or earlier this afternoon, but right now the final grind, I think, is between, again, Alaska and Greenland. But I spoke to some of the women in the open women's competition coming up shortly, and they're pretty excited and keen to get into competing, and they hope to, bring something home. If not, they're just excited to be here and participate and learn more about the games. And people have been great recognizing us from Igalak and CBC Northbeat. So it's just been, where do I start and where do I stop? They're amazing.
I'm so glad to hear that, Pauline. I hope you have the most fun there this week. I'm sure we'll check back with you later on. That is Pauline Pimuk Matna Koyanami, live in Wasilla, Alaska. Now let's take a look at some of the events today, some of the other events at the AWG, starting with the triple jump. Here you can see a competitor from the U17 male category. Now, according to the AWG, this is a traditional game from Russia. It tests strength and power, and athletes, as you see, they must jump with both of their feet. Next up, it's U19 female basketball. This one is Yukon versus Northwest Territories. In the end, Team NT took this match with a score of 65-44. Speed skaters took on the 1,000-meter individual races today. Athletes from all 3 territories took to the ice. We will have some medals in speed skating tonight. The final races are later this evening, so keep an eye out for that. And then finally, here's a look at some curling. There were several matches today going on into the evening. Again, all 3 territories represented in this sport today on the ice. The first medals for curling are scheduled to be awarded later this week. The Arctic Winter Games are a once-in-a-lifetime experience for many participants. Some youth are even lucky enough to go more than once. One Yukon Whitehorse biathlete qualified for his 2nd Games this year, but he didn't make the trip. Cheryl Kawacha tells us why.
This is snowshoe biathlon at the Arctic Winter Games in Alaska. Gallagher DeBramo is one of the Yukon competitors. He qualified as the alternate and was happy to step up when a spot came open. Back in Whitehorse, his teammate, Chase O'Brien, is passionate about the sport.
I'm whole hearts with it for sure.
O'Brien went to the last Arctic Winter Games.
And it was just so much fun, and I just really loved the experience, and you only live once. It was just an experience I wouldn't want to miss out on.
So when he made the team this year, then told his coach he wasn't going, there was some confusion.
He led the way on the snowshoe, the U18 snowshoe males, but decided to the benefit of one of his teammates to forgo participating in the games and literally declined a spot so one of the other team members could go Gallagher. A little different, we don't get this headwind at our range, right?
No, this is weird.
So remember...
Both boys will age out of this Arctic Games competition after this year.
Our friendship was more important than the race, so I decided to just let it go, because there's other opportunities out there, and I'd already gone once, so I figured it was kind of the right thing to do, for sure.
It was super selfless. It's so nice of him. Even though it's an individual sport, we're such a great team and we're so bonded. And we've been training together for a while, and so it's so fun watching everyone, Gallagher, but everyone else race. It's so fun.
Coach Nick Marnick says he's proud of every one of his athletes, but O'Brien's humble move is golden.
I couldn't have been more proud of him. doubly sweet kind of situation, yeah.
And it's not an experience Gallagher DeBramo will ever forget either.
I'm really happy to be here. It's quite fun.
Come on, Gallagher, let's go, let's go, let's go, buddy.
Just competing outside of Whitehorse is really fun as well.
Cheryl Kawaja, CBC News, Anchorage, Alaska.
Such sportsmanship there. What a beautiful story. You may notice a change these games for Team Greenland. Those athletes are now competing under their traditional name. Kalaallit Nunaat is how you say the name of that country in Greenlandic, or Kalaallisut. Pauline Pimuk met up with Klaus Nielsen with the Arctic Sports Federation in Greenland, and they talked about why it was so important to make this change.
Kalaallit Nunaat is mean Greenland. So every others use the normal language to spell the land's name. So we also do the same. We just in Greenland we say it's Kalaallit Nunaat. So we say, why not? Why shall we also have the Greenland? So I know it's easier for around the world, but if you not tell our name, they will never know. So now they know. Some people know Kalaallit Nunaat is Greenland.
And what did you have to do as a contingency, or what steps did you have to take to switch from Team Greenland to Team Kalaallit Nunaat?
Not much. The clothing, that's print on the clothing. In the international committee, we still Greenland. But we pronounce now Kalaallit Nunaat, and we just said we want to use our original name. So.
And when you talk about using your original name, why is it important? Why is it important to use that name?
Because we are not independent, but we use our own language. So why should we put Kalaallit, the English or the Danish is from far away behind. We still use it for this different things, but now we go out in the sport in the world and say Kalaallit Nunaat, that's our name for the.
And for other areas across international in the world, what would you say to them if they wanted to follow what Kalaallit Nunaat is doing?
Just tell them, we are competing here in Arctic Winter Games, and I will say that it's the Sport Federation that changed the name. It's not the government. The government still use all three words, English, Danish, Greenlandic. And we're gonna just use Kalaallit Nunaat, Team Greenland. Greenland is somewhere in the small, somewhere in the jacket or on the shirt. But Kalaallit Nunaat, that's us.
For those who don't know, how would we help them pronounce it?
Yeah. Kalaallit Nunaat, there's two L, is El Kalaallit Nunaat. So that's the big difference. That's the two L beside each other is pronounced Kalaallit Nunaat.
Congratulations, and it was nice to see your team out at the opening ceremonies, and good luck with everything while you're here in Alaska.
Thank you. Buenos.
Many people at the games have been on the lookout for this local celebrity, a white raven. CBC radio host Lawrence Nayali is in Anchorage. He went on the hunt for the bird, and it really didn't take long before he found it. He says it soared right over his car. Alaska's white raven wasn't the only rare creature spotted in the north this weekend. There was also a centaur and a cookie monster, both on skis, and they were vying for the top spot at another athletic event, the Buckwheat Ski Classic. Racers from the Yukon and Alaska gathered on Saturday in northern British Columbia for the event. Katrin Pilkington introduces us to some of the competitors and their over-the-top costumes.
The competition includes a 5K, a 10K, a 16K, and a 32K. That might sound fairly light as ski classics go, but you try putting on your skis dressed as the Cookie Monster, or setting a competitive time as a centaur. Eric Baldwin is on the buckwheat board and was one of the race organizers.
How many years have you been coming out to this event?
Probably about 15. Yeah.
So you've probably seen it all.
We've seen quite a bit. Yeah, seen quite a bit.
Yeah, how do you feel about the costumes you're seeing out there today?
There's some great costumes, especially the kids' costumes are really coming out. I think in general, northern communities like to do things a little different, like to, be unique, if you will. And so I do think that it really captures the spirit of a lot of people that live up here.
It also highlights the power of northern endurance.
And is it challenging at all to actually perform, to see?
Not at our level.
We're high not at our level. Athletes.
Katrin Pilkington, CBC News, Whitehorse.
And that is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, go to cbc.ca/north. Before we go, I wanted to say a quick Koyanaini thank you to all the people in Tucken and Nuvik who made my trip there so special recently. And before we go, we leave you with more from last night's Arctic Winter Games opening ceremonies. Thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a good night.
Closing this case gets you one step closer to you getting back on the squad and keeping you out of prison.
You're not a detective. You're a con artist. You have a driver's license, right?
Of course, I have 9. If you couldn't be a cop, what would you be?
Nothing. My dad raised me to be a cop. That's who I am. Stay here.
You're adorable.
You guys are making this entire station look like a circus.
He's busy trying to solve a murder. What are you doing?
Thanks for having my back.
Look at you.
Is this your girlfriend?
This is not my girlfriend.
She's way too cool to be your girlfriend.
It's not way too cool to be my girlfriend.
Watch CBC News Explore 24 hours a day for free.